Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be playing in the Tier 10 French Collector Heavy, the AMX M4 Mle 54. This is a tank that I find incredibly strong, but also pretty balanced in terms of its weak points, and I'll be explaining why in today's video. Now, the AMX M4 is surprisingly fast. This big behemoth can achieve a top speed of 45 kilometers per hour, and even better than that, it can reverse at 20. So mobility-wise, this thing is pretty impressive. And the gun is also pretty dangerous. It's got solid DPM at 2,500, paired with really good pen using calibrated shells. It has good damage per shot at 450. This tank has a boatload of hit points due to being able to run reactive armor, and also with improved assembly paired with sandbags, this thing has 2,750 health. So basically, it's got the hit points of a super heavy. It's got a gun that hits pretty hard and surprisingly good mobility. And not only that, it has really good armor. Its upper plate is pretty hard to pen, and the entire turret when using gun depression is nearly impossible to pen. So what balances out the AMX? Well, there's two big factors. First of all, it's a big tank. The larger your tank, the worse I usually consider armor to be. Like, sure, a Mouse, an E100, they're large, and they do have some armor, but at the same time, it's very easy for tanks to get to the side of you and bleed you out and punish you when you're in a larger tank. And the AMX M4, unlike German super heavies, does not have good side armor. It is really, really bad overall armor on the sides, on the side of the turret, so really only frontally the armor is going to be pretty good, which means that the moment you have somebody that actually manages to get to your side, it's going to be really tricky to get bounces. It's also, not the best tank at dealing with mediums because of the fact that it's just so large and easy to see. Its camouflage values aren't great, so as I mentioned, it's got some really good strengths, but it's got plenty of downsides to balance out those strengths when you're up against players that will kind of bleed you out in the open. So what we're going to do in this game to start is move into this hold down spot here. And there you go, we got the enemy Jagdpanzer spotted, and boom, there you go. 343, and we do get a bounce from the Jag, but that's not too surprising, because as I did mention, this vehicle's armor is pretty dang good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up. I'm going to move all the way over here to this hull down spot. This is an amazing position to catch the enemy off guard, so we're gonna make our way up here. Let's see, is there anything there? I saw the tree get knocked down. We got the enemy E5 spotted already. Okay, I'm just gonna keep waiting. We got the Type 68, and I'm interested to see whether that E5 will poke or not. Doesn't look like it just yet. We have to be definitely a little cautious, but at the same time, I'm just gonna over poke and get a nice pen into the enemy Type. Ah, there it is. I knew it. I knew it. They have their team camping in the back, of course. Oh, when players do that, it's so lame, dude. It's really one of the lamest things. Alright, well, we can't do anything to the Jag. That player is already cooked. And I think what I'm going to do right now is try and deal with the 4-202. I think that's the best play to make, because it looks like our team is trying to hold on the other flank. So we're just going to push the enemy 4-202. Gonna push right over the ridge. Hello, Mr. 4202. Easy shell. Didn't realize I'd heat loaded, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference. I'm just gonna ram them, which is gonna clear them right out of the battle. Pretty good stuff so far. We're up to 1,200 damage, which isn't too bad. And now we're going to push. And interestingly enough, we have a TVP on our side, which is totally fine. Again, I have reactive armor, so even though this TVP thinks they're special, in reality, they're not even going to really be able to deal much damage to me. They bounce the first shell. I don't have the ability to repair my track just yet. TVP misses the next shell and over angles their side, allows me to pen them with a high explosive. Yeah, good job, dude. You penned me 0 times. Something else you'll notice about this tank is it has incredibly fast turret traverse, which means that even if you are tracked, it's still very easy to traverse your turret and deal with anything that gets on your side. So we have the Type 68, which we get a nice 457 damage into. Remember I was talking about reverse speed? This is where reversing is super important. It buys me times that this Type 68 literally cannot catch me, which means then I can get another 563 max roll into the Type. And now this player is obviously cooked at this point, so we're just going to face hug the Type 68. It's going to be pretty hard for them to deal with me. They're dead, and we can continue pushing up. This tank's turret is obviously stuck on me, which is a bit of a bummer because I'd like to be able to get some more damage, and with this turret being stuck on me, well, yeah, it's definitely slowing me down a lot. So I'm hoping that, there you go, get a little bit of an angle, and we're able to scrape that turret right off us. Alright, well, we still have the 92E1. Unfortunately, our team is doing pretty bad, and I don't think it's going to be a win because of that. Because they still have a tank that I think is camping over here, and I can't help out with that E5 until the tank that was back over there... Okay, no, we can see all of them now. Alright, well, that's good, but it's also still not great for our team. We got the 92E1, and I'm going to push all the way over here. And we'll see if I can get maybe a shell out into one of these players. Let's push over this way and keep on going, keep on going. Okay, nothing spotted yet. Let's see. Oh, there you go. We got the 704, which we get a nice 457 damage shell into. Now I'm going to back up. We're up to 3,700 damage, which is pretty good so far, to be honest. That E5 is going to be a real pain because I know that it's going to go hull down, and I don't really want to fight that E5 in a hull down spot. I have a feeling it's going to try and dig up over here. Oh, okay, well, the 92E1 does actually get a pretty nice shot. We're just going to chill over here. We're aiming on the Waffenträger and get another easy shell, taking that player out of the game. This is looking more and more winnable every second because the 92 is still alive, and the 704 is a one... Wow, that was an insanely bad shot in terms of RNG. I know that the E5... Oh, we're going to put on my reactive so the E5 doesn't really do any damage to me. And we're going to load a gold shell, which allows us to clear the 704. So at this point, I'm going to chill right here. We're going to aim it on the rear of the E5. Let's hope that the 92E1 manages to hit that player. The E5 actually misses, which is huge for us, which means now I can move up. And when that 92E1 gets to the side, that was a bad shot for me. I will fully admit that. That was a terrible shot for me. I could have aimed that a lot better. I screwed it up. That was 100% on me. However, E5 still manages to bounce me as well, so that player had a bad shot on their part. We get a nice tracking 387 damage shell. It's a terrible roll, but at least we still penned it. And the E5 screws up its shot again, so we're doing pretty good so far. Here's the thing that's the downside of the E5, right? This tank has reactive armor, which means that if I just wait a bit of time, I can get my reactive back. So we have to wait a little bit longer, and then what I can do is I can literally just, you know, fight the C5 using my reactive. But actually right now the C5 is showing me their lower plate, so I can just pen them, damage their ammo rack, which they don't appear to have a fix for. So I'm just going to chill here. We're going to back up again. I have such good reverse speed that this E5 really can't do anything to counter that. And there you go, we get the clear. Yeah, that one shot I fired on the E5 was really bad, though. I kind of rushed it. I should have just loaded gold and guaranteed the pen, and I tried to snap him. That was definitely a bit poor on my part, but we were still able to outplay and deal 6,500 damage, block 2,830, get 5 kills, and ace the game. That's a pretty good game to start with. And by the way, that E5 is a pretty good player, as we can see. 65%er, even has the professional background, which means that they are a pretty good player in general. But sometimes the best of us make mistakes. I think that E5's biggest mistake was somehow managing to bounce 2 shells in a row on my vehicle. As I said, I have the advantage of reactive armor. Reactive allows me to, you know, take what would be a 340 alpha heat shell or a 400 alpha AP and basically, you know, take 60 to 100 potential damage off of the roll. And that's huge because what it means is that the E5, which already has less damage per shot than me, is going to have even less damage per shot. So I can win the trade war. And then when you pair that with the fact that my tank has that reverse speed, so when the E5 tries accelerating to shoot me, it literally can't catch me. It's what allows the AMX to really dominate. So I think that game, we took advantage of every single situation we could. I made the right plays throughout the whole game, and because of that, we got a win. So I can't really get too mad. And I got really lucky that the E5 screwed up those shots on me. But I guess I got unlucky that I screwed up the shot on the E5. Alright, so what are we going to do this game? Well, the first thing on this map is you have to be really careful about what's going to go on. Where your team pushes, I mean. I'd love to go mid-hill in the AMX. And I might even get bled, right? They have a 30B, they have a Leopard 1. It's not uncommon to see players drive their mediums up this ridge over here. So I'm going to keep staring that way. But the problem is, as you'll notice, my whole team wants to push over towards this side of the map. And it's fine. My AMX M4, once I get onto flat ground, is really quick. We're already up to 40 kilometers per hour here, and you can see we're speeding ahead. But unfortunately, I was the one who got the bad spawn, so it means I'm way further back than the rest of my team, and it's going to take me some time to accelerate up. Alright, so the Gonk gets a really nice shell into the Kron, and what we're going to do is we're going to get a pen into the Kron myself. There you go. The Gonk and our Błyskawica get another nice shell into that player, and I think that at this point the Kron's game is over. There you go. Little 33 damage clear, but it's still obviously a pretty important shot. We got the Contracaro in front of us. I'm just going to drive right over. I'm going to aim it on the Contracaro, get a 439. We probably won't deal too much damage in this game because, well, we've got 4,000 DPM in both of our Polish TDs right in front of me. I'm going to put on my reactive just in case this Type 5 does potentially pen me. They didn't, but, you know, it's better safe than sorry. That's what they always say. And against a Type 5, which can literally... One thing that does suck on the AMX is the gun. Sometimes the gun on this tank is really not that good, and it can miss incredibly easy shots. Good news is that its heat pen is quite good, as we can see, so when you're able to get that heat pen out, you can quite easily cut through the enemy. And that's what we did right there. So this Type 5 is trying to back up, and... well, I'm actually not going to push that, because we got the 30B and a bunch of other death in front of us, so instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to chill right here. We're going to turn our tank, reload, 3, 2, 1, and boom, another nice shell into the 30B. That puts us up to 2,000 damage now. As I said, this game, the enemy team's kind of fallen apart pretty quick, and because we have so much DPM in these Błyskawicas, it's going to be hard for me to really deal a crazy amount of damage, but we're doing fine. Hoping that the IS-7 gets distracted on that player. There you go, perfect, and we can move up ourselves. We can aim in on the 5A, get another nice pen for 426, and we're actually over 3,000 damage at this point, which is pretty good. So the only tank left that has hit points is the 5A. That was it. So at this point, obviously, this game is over. Tried to HE the Type 5, and I actually think that would have hit if the Eric did not go into the shell. But unfortunately for me, they did, and the Błyskawica gets the clear. You can see how quick these games are when you have these Polish TDs and they drive them properly, right? I think that our Polish TDs played perfectly. Right in the beginning of the game, they worked in tandem to clear the Kron and Contracaro, and because of that, well, look at that, 3,700 damage from our Błyskawica dealt, and the other one didn't do a crazy amount of damage at 2,400, but still did pretty good. These Polish tank destroyers, when they're able to rip out that damage, and they are able to get close quarters combat to their enemies, it's really scary. And what's nice is because I've got the hit points and I've got the reactive armor, it means that I can even push and tank some shells for these tank destroyers to give them the ability to continue pumping out shells. So now we're on Oasis Palms. Up against us, we got an IS-7, 5A, Kampfpanzer, that's 3 heavies, plus an E3, so technically 4 heavies. We do not have many heavies. It's just me and a 116. So because of that, I'm probably going to go over towards the medium flank before I go over towards the heavy flank. And what's really nice about the AMX as I went over is that this thing's mobile, right? It can achieve a top speed of 45, so it's got that mobility to push in the position. I'm surprised this thing really isn't used in comp anymore because of how mobile and capable this vehicle is. Alright, so here we go. Once we start accelerating, we're going pretty fast now, right? Up to 43, 45 kilometers per hour. And we're just going to continue following this path. Hopefully, yes, good. We do have teammates. Not sure why our Sheridan went this far back, but it's totally fine. I'm just going to keep going. We have the enemy 5041, which we do end up missing, but that's totally fine. We're going to put on my reactive just in case this 5041 tries to pen me. And reactive scares people because they see it and they're like, ooh, I don't want to fight that. Like this 268, for example. Even if they had penned me, they would have only dealt probably around 500 damage, which would have allowed me to win that trade big time. So we got the 5041 backing off. We're going to aim in on the 268 again because the 268's a much scarier tank than the 5041. And at this point, we've already dealt a solid amount of damage. We do have the Kampfpanzer trying to flank off to my side, which, sure, they shoot me, and of course, they max roll. That was literally a max roll from that player, 700 damage. But you know what? I don't really care, because as we went over, my tank features so much mobility and so much damage output that this KPZ doesn't really scare me that much. We get a bounce from the KPZ, and we rolled 563 with a max roll, so yeah, it was my turn to max roll that shot, dude. And now this KPZ who thought they were hot crap is, guess what? Basically dead. Yeah, so it shows that you shouldn't really rush a tank when your whole team is being steamrolled at the same time. Sheridan's in the back, we got the IS-7 in the front, and I'm thinking right now I want to try and potentially get a shell into this 5A. Let's see, what's this 5A's game plan? Well, it's apparently getting shot by me for 420 damage. I'd love to be able to get some damage into this IS-7 in front of me, so let's just keep pushing up. We do get penned by the IS-7. That's fine, we're going to aim it on their side. Nice 450 damage. And again, because I have reactive armor, it means that even though I have less health than the IS-7 currently, it doesn't really matter. So we'll just chill right here. Aiming, aiming. There you go, another easy pen. Light the IS-7 on fire. Put on my reactive armor. They bounce me anyway. Now, unfortunately, I have 82 seconds of no repair kit, which means that trying to reliably... Well, apparently I just get really lucky and hit that shot anyway. But, yeah, with no repair kit, it means that... I mean, look at the size of my aiming circle, dude. It's crazy. So, that's always going to be a big downside with the AMX, is that if you're running double consumable, you're not going to have the ability to repair... Oh, come on! Yeah! I wanted to get as close as I could to this player before I shot. By the way, look at all the shells on my upper plate. But yeah, I wanted to get as close as I could to that enemy E3 before I shot, because I know how inaccurate this thing's gun is, especially if you have a damaged gunner. But there you go, 2,330 blocked, 5,000 damage dealt, and once again, a top team finisher. You can clearly see this tank is amazing. It really is. I consider the AMX M4 to be one of the best tier 10 heavies. I'm really hoping Wargaming doesn't ruin it when they rebalance the game, because it's in a really good state right now, and it's one of those tanks that I'm not even scared to go up against. You know, there's a lot of tier 10s which are really, really hard to fight. This one is not hard to fight, because as I said, most players don't understand how large it is and how easy it is to get caught out in the open. Autoloaders are your biggest threat in this tank, because all it takes is 157 heavy, 140.05, 150B to poke you with reactive, to go bam, 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 to keep tracking you, and because you only have one repair kit, it's very hard to get back into cover. And not only that, but because you only have one repair kit, it's really a tricky decision whether you want to use that repair kit to back up, to not bleed health, or to save it so that if your modules get killed, you can fix them, right? Because as you saw in that game, I had 80 seconds with no repair kit because I just used it, I think, on the IS-7 when I got tracked. So because of that, I got lucky that it was the end of the game and I didn't need the accuracy. But imagine if I was in a battle and that was right at the beginning of the game. I used my repair kit because somebody tracked me, and then boom, 10 seconds later I get shot. Now for 83 seconds, I'm basically a shotgun. Or, you know, my driver's dead, or I get lit on fire. Those are all questions you always got to ask yourself. Now this game, again, it appears that I have no real heavies, which really sucks. Not having heavies and being in a heavy, especially one like this, which is a frontline haul-down tank, kind of sucks because you want to drive this tank as aggressive as possible. So it's a bit of a bummer. Now our mediums are going to actually do a good play, which is spot the crossing. I'm going to move more towards mid, and there you go. We can actually see the enemy FE4-202 already detected. And that's really good for me because it means now I can play more aggressive and try and get to the enemy's ridge haul down very quickly. We have the enemy Sheridan spotted. I'm going to keep moving up. This is going to be great because already spotted means that the Sheridan's going to try and bail. So we're going to get right behind the Sheridan. Let's keep going. Perfect. The Sheridan is already... Yeah, look at this. Dude's screwed. He's absolutely screwed. Perfect. There you go. Bye-bye. I might not have gotten any damage into that Sheridan, but the play that I made pushed that player into the 183, which got that player killed. So it was still a massive win, if you ask me. Alright, so what do we have here? We got the 777, we got the Błyskawica, which I'd love to be able to get a shell into. Phone alarm's going off. Turn that off. We got the enemy Minnow, which we do get a nice 470 damage shell into. And we're going to back up. I'm going to put on my reactive just in case these players do try penning me. And there you go, look at that. That E5 rolled me for literally like no damage. And then we shoot the E5 back with a heat shell right in the turret. And that player's dead. So congratulations, dude. Yeah, he gave up. But that's what happens. You know, you see these players and they make these aggressive plays. And they never work out well for the enemy. Aw, that was a perfect shot right where I wanted it to go. And unfortunately, it just didn't do what I needed it to. Alright, well now we're going to start moving up. I've got the gun depression, I have the armor, so I don't really see how this 777 is reliably going to fight me. Sure, you heat pen me, but obviously I deal a lot more damage. I still have plenty of tanks overlooking me as well, so it's going to be pretty hard for this enemy team to actually do anything against me. We got the Minnow, which we get a nice pen into. We're going to back up. 777 can't hit me, especially with the reverse speed I have, and I have a lot more health than the Minnow, so right now we're just kind of chilling. Let's see. Got the Minnow backing up. I could have fired an AP shell, but why bother? I can guarantee the pen with a heat shell anyway. Is the minnow going to try and YOLO me? I'm not sure what the minnow's doing, but this thing has pretty good DPM, as I said. So we get another nice shell into the minnow, light them on fire, take 670 health off them, and we're just going to face hug them. I am worried about the 4202, but I'm more worried currently about the minnow penning me. So let's get a clearing shell into that tank, and now we can start dealing with the 4202. I'm just going to back up. There you go. We're going to put on my reactive. This 4202 won't be able to do anything to me. And we get a 606 damage high explosive into their tank. I mean, what are you going to do? 238 damage? Oh no. Now the TVP is going to start shooting that player, and they are dead. Alright, sweet. That leaves us with only 2 tanks left. We have the enemy 777, who is probably going to pen me, but maybe not, because apparently they don't know how to aim. Oh, we get shot in the rear, which is not an ideally good thing. And unfortunately, our shell bounces the 777, but you know what? Again, I made plays that gave my team the win. The 777 wasted their time on me. The IS-7 was a little annoying that they shot me, but whatever. I can't deal, you know, everything. I can't deal with everything in front of me. And the APCR, as you saw, unfortunately just could not pen the side of the 777 because APCR is an absolutely trash bag standard shell. But didn't make a difference. We won. We did our job, and I'm pretty sure we still did easily over 3,000 damage, maybe even pushing 4,000 due to the plays that I made this game. So let's take a look. Victory. And this battle, we did 3,807. I blocked a lot. The reactive helped me out. So, yeah, this was a really good game. I don't know why that 4202 did not fire high explosive shells into my tank, unless they were running the heat gun, which they potentially were. But I don't understand why you would grind the FE4202 to then run the heat gun. I think that's literally the most foolish decision in your life. I don't know why anybody would grind the 4202 in general if they don't understand what high explosive is. It's literally the whole point of the tank. You click on the vehicle, you click on the gun, and it says high explosive right there. Like, it's not that hard to figure it out, but whatever. It's not my problem. I was able to benefit off of that. So, at the end of the day, AMX M4 is a great tank. If you think these games are cherry-picked, you can see right here, victory, 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 all one after another, all really good games. So, yeah, this tank is fantastic. So, yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.